Okay, now we're recording. All right, we're gonna put darts. I'm starting all over, y'all. This is the bodice we're working on, and we're gonna put the darts in the back and the front. Okay, so last night I marked the darts, and today what I've done, I've pin basted the darts, meaning I've put pins right in the lines and connected the lines. Your dart is your fit, so you want to make sure that you get these darts stitched properly. So what I'm going to do now that I've pinned it, I'm going to stitch right on that line, taking the pins out as I go, and I'm going to end right at the dart point. So let me review how we do the pin basting. Okay, take your straight pins right here at the dart point. Remember we talked about last night, this is the dart point. This is the dart point. These are the dart legs. And this is a 1-inch dart. Where's my ruler? So if you want to make sure you know how wide your darts are, just take your seam gauge and measure it, okay? So I'm going to slide this pin across right at the dart point. Okay. And then I'm going to put the dart legs together. I'm going to take a pin and put it in the top line and make sure it goes on the other side, right in the line on the other side, the same line. And that kind of gives you a beginning to how the dart should be folded. I've seen people fold them and press them. I've seen people, you know, do different things. I've seen people cut them, cut the paper and trace it. I've seen a lot of different things, but pin basting is very accurate. And you don't need that many pins for this, you know, for this 7-inch dart, you need about 3 pins in the middle. Okay. So here's the 2 backs. And I did the fronts already. Okay. Oh, this is what I was doing last night. My pen fell out. Yeah, so pin basting it, make sure that you're gonna stitch it accurate. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring my camera over because I want you to see how I'm doing the dart. Okay, guys, here's my dart, okay? Now, can you see the line on the dart?
Yes.
So the dart is slanted. It's slanted and it comes off. If you've ever done a dart and you run over, let me show you why that happens. All right. We tend to put our fabric in the machine straight because that's what we're used to, right? We put it in straight. I'll foot pedal before I move this camera. All right, we put the fabric in straight and we depend on ourselves to follow the line, the slanted line, and come off right at where we're supposed to come off. And sometimes it doesn't happen. All right. So what I'd like you to practice is lower your needle right at the beginning, lower the foot, take that first pin out. And instead of keeping your fabric in the machine straight, I want you to put the line straight in your eyesight. You see the difference? See, first my fabric was straight and I've got a slanted line. But if I shift it just a little and look at the line straight, that's what I'm going to follow. And if you do that, you'll come off right on the edge where you're supposed to. I'm taking the pins out as I go. And then you take your 2 threads and tie a knot. You don't want that to come loose. Okay, I'll do it again. Susan, I heard something really interesting yesterday from a student. She said that when she gets almost to the dart point, she shortens the stitch length.
Oh,
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
yeah.
So,
Unless you decide you don't like the dart and you have
yeah,
to.
exactly. You gotta take it out. So, guys, I was teaching a student, and she said that she had learned that if you tighten the stitch length at the point of the dart, that secures it. You know, just as it. Well, she still tied a knot, but I get how it could be helpful to have a tighter stitch length at that point. She had like 8 darts to do, and she did them, and then she sat there and tied knots in every one of them. Uh-oh, I pinned on the wrong side because I was demonstrating last night. I went interfacing shopping today. Bought more interfacing because I used all of my interfacing, all of the one kind that I had on these 2 dresses. Let's talk about these darts. Where's mine? All right, so here's the front darts. Now, when you're making your muslin, put your darts in. This is an exception. This is my real fabric, okay? But let's pretend it's my muslin. What I would do, because this is bulky fabric and it'll provide some bulk right here, I would cut this open as far as it can go and press the dart down as if it were a regular seam. Does that make sense? Okay. On your muslin, you don't have to do that, but on your real fabric, especially if it's going to create some bulk right here, because this is your side seam. And you want to make sure that you've got some smoothness here. And because it's like 1.5 inch dart, you want to cut it, and I'll cut it all the way up, open the seam, and make sure it's, it's smooth. Otherwise, for the back dart, I'm just going to press it towards the side. And that's my preference, but I've always pressed my darts to the outside. Now, if I feel like this is going to create some bulk, I would cut that also. Okay. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I've got all 4 darts done on, what is this pattern number? 9176. Okay. I've got all 4 darts done on the bodice. So I'm just going to cut up as far as it'll go. And then I'm going to press like that. Okay. But only do that when you are certain that you're moving forward, with your sizing. Like, you don't have to bother with it on a muslin. And if you don't think your fabric is creating any bulk, you don't have to do it at all. What you can do is just lay it down, because the dart is designed on the side to lay down and line up with your side seam. See the difference? So you would press it just like this and put the tip of your iron right here at the dart point, so it'll be smooth when it lays on your chest. And ironing versus pressing, remember, it's just up, down motions. No movement, just up, down. And then I put the tip of the iron at the dart point. I got to change the light bulb in my room. It's too dark. Rosemary, did you get cut out? Or are you waiting?
I had traced my pattern pieces at a size 10 for the bodice on, tracing paper. So I'm doing that all over again because I have to go up.
You want to go up?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Your
I looked at
measurements make more
measurements.
sense. Your
I'm sorry?
measurements make more sense on the larger size.
Yeah. My skirt I did it as a 14, so I think the bodice should be a 12.
Okay. All right, good. Here is one. Here's our back. And here's the front. Okay, now I'm going to do the wrap bodice. Okay, so, and what I'll go ahead and do is put the shoulders together. I just wanted to make sure we had all the darts done. So guys, here's something I want to bring your attention to. When in tailoring, okay, and dressmaking, I'm not completely certain that Simplicity really focuses on this or not, but sometimes they do, just depending if their block is made and if your cutting is accurate. Here are your shoulders. The back shoulder is typically longer, wider than the front shoulder. Okay, so when you put it together, so if you ever put a pattern together and the shoulders don't match up and the back is wider, that means it was done correctly. And you match up the notches. And what you're going to do is stretch so that they both fit. What happens is your back is wider anyway, your back piece, and if it stretches to meet the front, that means it's creating that hug right over your shoulder. Okay, all shoulders in tailoring and dressmaking are eased in. The front is eased into the back so that that back will create a little hug. And if you notice on, most garments, couture garments on down, but you'll see them in some bow patterns, they do it. Your shoulder line, your shoulder seam is not right on the top of your shoulder. It's just a little towards the front. Okay, because our shoulders are round. So we want the garment to fit in its round state. So you'll find that. So if you ever see that, don't think if you're confident about how you cut and you know you're a good cut, Lisa cuts like a scissor herself. She cuts so well. And if she ever saw that the shoulders weren't the same, that means because she's got a nicely drafted pattern.
I know you're not up to it yet, but on the wrap dress, are you gonna maybe talk about the sleeves? Because I don't understand how it's got these stair steps. So I didn't do anything with the sleeves at all. I didn't even trace it.
Then okay, so it's just giving you different lengths, and I'll show you what it wants you to do. Tony had that same question. Where is Tony, Ebony? Stair steps. Is that what they are, Rosemary?
I'm sorry?
I said they're stair steps, huh?
Yeah, on the sides. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, okay. I was like, what is this? How do I keep the line straight? I was like, what?
No, you just have to, you can take your ruler and true it out. I'll make sure we get to it because I'm ready to do the wrap bodice now anyway.
I think if I can make a film of all the funny, expressions on my face when I look at line drawings or something like that, it'd be pretty funny. I was making like a turtleneck tunic for my daughter, and the illustration was like, pick up the front part of the turtleneck and flip it up and then do the stitching on the sides. And I was like, what does that picture? I don't understand. It was just a crazy looking picture.
All right, I'm gonna give you a tip on how to understand, how to break down these pattern languages. Remember in Sunday school when we were learning how to read a Bible scripture? No, nobody. Nobody.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay.
I know what you mean. I was over at my machine though.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're reading a pattern, the pattern instructions. Okay, let me find a good one. Okay, To ease top of sleeve between notches, stitch along seam line and 1/4 inch inside seam line. Using a long machine stitch to reinforce lower edge, stitch along seam line for 1 inch on either side of small dot. Clip seam allowance to stitching, being careful not to clip the stitching. Stitch underarm seam. Right? Is that what y'all mean? Okay, so think about it when you're reading the Bible. In Sunday school, they taught you to break down every single word or phrase. Okay? So, yea, through the valley. We know what that means, right? What is it? I walk through the valley.
Of the
Yea, though I
shadow of
walk.
death.
Yea, though I walk, right? Take that. Through the valley. We know what that means. Of the shadow of death. You know what that means. You see how you break down every piece? The same with the patterns. Okay? To ease the top of the sleeve. Where do you go? When I say to ease the top of the sleeve, you're looking at the top of the sleeve, right? Between notches. All right, it's telling you where to go. All right, stitch along seam line and 1/4 inch inside the seam line. Just break it up as you go. Don't try to read it all and try to understand it. Look at the picture and go back. Just kind of break it up and see if that helps you. Okay, break up every word. No, that was a little digression. So, but yeah. All right, let's see where we are. I'm getting ready to make sure I got my bodice together. Uh-oh. Because I also want you guys to ask questions and I want to review. You need to stop saying you guys. I want to review pattern language so that you know you're not struggling with that. Okay. So on the bodice, we've got the darts done. We put the shoulders together. And what I'm going to do next is stay stitch the neck edge. Now, stay stitching is just what it says. The edge, stay right here. When you have a knit fabric, you see how it's cut? You see how it's cut on a circle? All right. If you handle it too much, or you're going to put a collar on and it's going to pull like that, it'll stretch. So if I put a stay stitch on there, I'm going to put it on 1/4 inch away. That's about the width of my foot. Okay. So I'm going to keep my foot right on the edge, a regular stitch. And I'm just going to stay stitch all the way around. And that's exactly what it is. It makes the fabric stay in place, the fabric edge, particularly because it's a knit. Now, if it's a woven, wovens will stretch also because when we cut it on a curve, it's bias cut. So there's stretch there because, you know, woven will stretch diagonally, right? So if you're cutting woven on a curve, it will pull and stretch. Okay, so those of you making 9176, I'm going to stop right here. Our next step is to put the collar on before we stitch the sides down, and the bodice will be complete then. And then we'll put the bottom on and put the zipper in. We'll probably do that. We'll review that next week. Or you can, and guys, don't wait for me in class to go to a next step. If you feel confident and comfortable about doing the next step, please do it. Because by the end of we get done, maybe you'll make 2 dresses. Okay, I'm spotlight my table. All right, this is the wrap dress. We're gonna follow instructions on here. All right, on the wrap dress, we're gonna do the back darts. So here's a dart here and a dart here. You seem kind of faint on the camera because I traced them and I transferred the dart markings in yellow. So I can see it. So I put my pins at the dart points and I'm going to pin baste the dart legs all the way up.
Your fabric looks like a woven. What is that?
It's not a woven. It's, you know what, Rosemarie, let me take that back. It may be a stretch woven. It's stretchy, but I bought it 2 years ago at Fine Fabric, and it's a border fabric with the flowers on the bottom of the fabric. So it's black. It's black up top. And then I got a piece right here. I didn't mean to, but yeah, it looks woven, but look.
Oh, that's nice.
I think it's a stretch woven. Yeah, it's a nice piece. And I forgot I had it. So, and you know, I moved, so all my fabric is sitting in bins. So I was looking, I said, oh, look.
Yeah, that's pretty. And it just looks like it drapes so nice.
Yeah, I hope it's I plan for it to be a nice spring dress. The other one's going to be strapless, and I'm going to give that one to my niece because if y'all remember last night, it's too little for me. Unless I leave it in the closet. Who else leaves clothes in their closet for when you lose weight?
Oh, yes.
Won't all ladies do
Huh? Don't we all do that? Is what you said?
that? I think all ladies do that.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. I know I do. There's some cute clothes that I will not get rid of.
Too expensive.
Yes, you're right.
Nobody has appreciation when you give them to them.
Right. Like,
I'll give you-
no, I'm not getting rid of that.
Gold dress in my closet 20-something years ago.
Okay, I'm gonna stitch these darts. And then like every couple of years, you'll try it on like, okay, almost. And Christy, what we were talking about with the rotary blades, I do that same thing with my needles. Like the needle that I change out from making a bra, I keep it and use it on regular fabric.
Oh, that's good to know too, because I keep throwing them out.
Yeah, don't throw them out. Just keep downgrading them.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a seam allowance question.
Okay.
Since you and I had a conversation about my surgery and
Yeah.
seam allowance. When I'm looking at my sewing the plate on the machine and it shows me 5/8 because I'm supposed to use 5/8, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is that from the needle in the center position or is that from all the way to the left?
On a brother,
Yes.
if you measure it, I will guarantee you it would be from the center. So check it. If not, maybe yours is designed default that way. But usually I tell people to put their brother needle in the middle and measure it just to make sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And it's coming up that in the center, it's not. It's something else.
It's not 5/8. Okay, so put it back to the left where, because is that where it defaults for you?
You know what? Like
When
I
you turn it, when you turn the machine on, where does the needle, what's the needle position?
I have to check. I've never thought about it.
I just had that this morning with the
It
student.
defaults in the center.
Okay, measure from the needle, get your seam gauge and measure from the needle to the 5/8 line. What's the stitch number, 0, 0 or 0, 1?
On my machine,
On your machine, the stitch number and your.
it has 1-03.
Oh, okay, that's a different machine, sorry, okay. All right,
One
just
of the-
measure it and see where you're, measure it backwards, kind of reverse engineer it and see where your 5/8 point should be.
Okay, and then I just know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's on my 2 centimeter line on the plate. Isn't that strange?
Here are my darts on the back for the wrap dress. This fabric does behave nicely too. All right, we are going to stay stitch the neck edge is, both neck edges, and the middle slanted seam of the front bodice on the on this dress. Where am I? All right, here's the middle of the wrap dress. Isn't that cute? I should take a picture of this.
That's gonna look so nice. Those flowers look like they're painted.
Yeah, they look cute. All right, so this is the princess seam that's going to create the curve on the. All right, guys, help me decide something. Should I put flowers over here for this piece too?
I vote yes.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't notice that before because I had cut those pieces out separately.
How will you match flower to flower?
I'm not matching flowers. Look, there's no way I can match those flowers. You know what, Rosemary? I would take that as a compliment. That was so flattering of you to even think that I would do that. But no, I'm not. I'm just gonna have flowers on this. I'm just gonna have flowers on that pattern piece. I had cut the all black in this pattern here, this pattern piece. I had already cut this, and then this was a last minute decision, and I didn't think to go back and cut this other one. Okay, so much better. Oh, I'm so sorry. This thing must be getting old on me. My little thing here. Yeah, it must be getting old. Okay, that's better. All right, so this is your princess seam, okay? When a bodice blocks are drafted in two ways, you have the princess seam that comes down from the shoulder and creates the curve just like this. This has the same job as a dart has. Okay, so what we're going to do, and there's notches here that you match up so you can have an easy time to match up. That's what happens when you forget to match your notches on a new pattern piece. So we have notches. It's not a come through one. Guys, you ever do a notch and when you first do it, when you first cut the pattern out, and maybe the notch only made it on the top piece and not the bottom? That happens to me all the time. So those of you making a wrap dress, this is the same thing. You're just going to be stitching on this curve, okay? Match these notches up. Do your notches first. And make sure you have some accurate cutting so that your notches will have you with accurate placement. And then do the bottom and the top. And this is a curve. It's going to be kind of tricky. You've got knit fabric, so that makes it easy. But if you feel nervous about it, do a basting stitch the first time. And if it comes out right, just go over it with your regular stitch. That's always a good way to test your. All right, you see how I've pinned the two notches, the top and the bottom. So it's already curving. So just ease all of this in. Maybe start in the middle, ease it down and make sure it all fits. And all you're focusing on, don't pull, don't, force it any other way. Just line up the edges of the two pieces of fabric.
Can I ask you on your fabric, it's right, the printed sides together, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Is yours printed?
Yeah, I
Okay.
stitched, and I was just kind of going along with what you had when you were doing the other one. So I did the stay stitching on it.
Yeah.
And then now I just was making sure that, because I stopped after I did the stay stitch and
Okay.
pressed down the seam.
Okay. And then fill in, and remember there's no such thing as too many pins. Okay. And see how the straight piece is curved, is pinned, curved. And your job is to make sure underneath you don't get any crinkles as you're sewing. So just stitch from pin to pin. Okay. Let me turn the camera around so you can see how we're stitching this. You stop with your needle down to keep it in place and make sure you're don't have any crinkles underneath. So ladies, can we talk about stitching over pins? So if you stitch over pin, a couple of things can happen. Even though you don't hear it or feel it, your needle will scrape on the side of the pin. And what happens is that will put a burr in the side of your needle. Okay? Because the pin, it's not stronger, but it's larger than the point of your needle. So you'll have a burr on the side of your needle. Also, when you stitch over a pin, that's why the needle goes over them so easily, because the pin kind of moves it out of the way. But that's a stitch that the needle is making to go over the pin, and that stitch is wider than your regular stitches. So you just have uneven stitches all the way down if you are stitching over pins in your garment. Hope that helps. Okay. See? And then I'm going to go to the ironing board and press this seam open. And I'm going to use my pressing ham. And I'll show you that. I'm going to do the other one also. We can go to the ironing board with both. Any questions about this one? All right, I'm going to pin the second one. Notches first. The bottom and the top. Okay. Now, if anyone wants to serge your seams as you're sewing, feel free to do so. I'm just not, but feel free to serge your seams. And again, serging your seams means you're confident about that seam. It's done, it fits, because you're cutting, right? But feel free to do it.
Is there an in-between method if you want to use your machine and use your serger, but you're not that confident about serging yet? So what, just
Well,
baste it then look at how it fits, then serge it later.
Look what just happened. I thought I was thought I was done and I was getting ready to stop, and my machine took another stitch and it rolled over this pin.
Oh.
My finger was on it to pull it out, and my machine took another stitch because I looked up to listen to you.
Sorry.
So it went, you don't apologize, I'm teasing. It went directly on top of the pin. Now, if it did this, you see a needle is stronger, but the pin is larger. But you can imagine what the tip of my needle looks like now, feels like now, right?
Oh yeah.
There you go. So I will be putting another needle in right now.
As additional warning, I have accidentally gone through needles, and I've broken my needle, accidentally gone through pin, broke my needle, and it popped up in my eye.
Oh,
So extra warnings.
yeah.
Now that I have to wear reading glasses all the time, it helps.
Yeah, I do wear glasses. You guys see me with my glasses, but yeah, the worst I've done is stick my I sewed through my finger.
I've done that before too.
Did it go all the way through from the nail, come out the other side?
Yep.
Ah!
It didn't hit anything, but it still hurt.
Yes, it hurts. And look, it's not like I did that as a rookie. I did that just last year. That was the very first time I had sewn through my finger. It hurt like I screamed. It hurt so bad. So guys, get a medicine bottle to put all your sharps in, your old sharps in. And then one day when you're going to the doctor, just take it with you and put it in their little thing.
Well, it never occurred to me to bring that to the doctor to put them in their red container. I always use my old spice bottles because they have the holes in the top.
Oh yeah, you just stick them in. Yeah, I've seen that on social media. I had already started this, but yeah, you keep it. This is like, let's say this is a year. Now I haven't figured out my rotary blades yet as far as taking them somewhere, like for recycling. I have only like taped them up really good. I collect them and I tape them up really good and then put them in the trash. But I would love to take them somewhere to be recycled. You guys know of any place?
I don't, but I always put the used ones in the container that it came in.
Yeah, I do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know where you can take them.
Yeah, because I buy them in bulk. So I have that container that opens up, that plastic container. So I just put them back in there and let them stack up, right? But
Sharps container would be good if you have that.
what is it?
Sharps container for needles, Sharps medical.
Yeah, well, that's what, see, that's why I just take this to the doctor's office.
Your rotary cutters will fit into Sharps.
They will?
Yeah.
So I could take them too.
Large opening. I have, because my husband has takes a medicine that you have to inject in yourself.
Yeah.
I have sharps containers. That would be a good one to, but I think that I want to say that the fire station, even there's a place that takes them.
That's good to know, Lisa.
But I know Kaiser, when you go in Kaiser Pharmacy, they have a container, you put all your sharps in.
Yeah, okay. That's good to know. All right, that's that lesson. Make sure you take the pen out before you get to it, because you might get distracted and not grab it enough. I'm going to press these seams open. Now, let me show you what I'm going to do. Because this is, sorry. Because this is a curve. This thing is getting old. That's why I'm having such a problem with it. It was so stiff last year. What I'm going to do, I am going to clip this curve to make it easy for it to press and lay flat, so I can have a flat seam on top of my boob. Okay, so I'm going to clips like notches, but wider all across the curve. Sure, don't cut your seam. Okay, I'm gonna go press it. Okay, so your hem is designed for you to lay a curved piece of fabric on top of it, like a sleeve or a neckline or a curved seam that you want to press the seam flat. All right, so, and it gives you a rounded surface so that you don't have seam lines on the fabric when you're pressing, and you're still doing an up-down motion. And because I clipped, the fabric relaxes, and I've got it on the rounded ham, and the seams open nicely. And I keep going and keep it rounded. And just keep moving it however you have to move it to keep your seam round and even. So you can just put the very tip of your iron on it. See? And see the curve that I've got here? But it's a nice flat seam. And so you can see it on this dress here too. It's that same seam. And see how it's got the curve here? It's hanging on the dress form, but on me, it fills out. It's the same thing. I'll do the other one too. And even though you don't hear it or anything, your steam is coming out of your iron. You don't need to, especially when you're working on delicate fabrics or even lightweight knits, you don't need to punch your steam button because the steam is coming out. If water is in your iron, the steam will just automatically come out.
What's everybody's favorite kind of rotary cutter? Because I've got an Olfa and I've got a Fiskars, and I don't really love either one.
You don't? I love my Olfa.
I have Olfa because that was what they sold back when I bought mine. The newer ones do look interesting.
Yeah. I have Kai also. So where is it? Rosemary, this is a Kai. And they sell regular scissors also. And
K-A-I is the name of that?
Kai.
Oh,
Hold on.
I don't see their blades as frequently, so.
Yeah, you don't. They're known for their scissors. This is a cover for it.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Okay. And then when you take it off, when you cut, the blade comes down. See this plastic part goes down. So when you cut, it does that. So there's nothing to do. There's no button to push or anything. You just start
That's what I
cutting.
can-
Yeah. And I like it. I like it.
Can I find that on Amazon?
I think so. Yes, you sure can. Because when my friend bought it for me, she was on Amazon. She said,
And-
Nikki, you want one? She was buying one. I said, yeah, and she bought it.
And a 45 blade, that's, the most useful, right?
Same blade.
Nikki, what brand did you say that was?
Kai.
KAI. Okay. 'Cause I have noticed I have is it Ginghire or something?
Dinger.
Yes, and they're hard to find blades.
Their blades are different.
Well, it's hard to find them. I don't know. Can I just swap out any blade? I didn't know.
Yeah, 45 millimeter.
I think so.
So there is a company on Amazon. Look on my Amazon shopping page, guys. Amazon.com/shop/sewing my style. And I've got the blades on there that are sold like 30 at a time.
Okay, I saw those. I just didn't order them because I didn't know if they worked with all.
Make sure your blade, I can't imagine that they're using, now there are some other blades. There's 16 millimeter, 45, 6, there's some different sizes, but the standard one is 45. That's what the quilters use.
I'll look
See,
at
rotary blades are new to us. Rotary blades aren't new to the quilters. We think it's all brand new and fancy. They like, shut up. We let y'all have those. Okay, there's the front of the bodice. And here's the back of the bodice. And I'm going to put the shoulders together and stay stitch the neck edges. Guess it doesn't matter which side. I can wrap it whichever way I want once I get it. And after I do the, get the bodices done, on the wrap dress, get the bodice done, I'll go over the sleeve.
I would want to see how you ease as you're sewing, Nikki.
Oh, like easing the sleeve? Is that what you meant, Rosemary?
That's what I meant, yeah. Like, or easing any pattern pieces once you get them under the needle. How do you do it?
Well, you just saw me do it with that princess seam. That was easing. But I did it with the pins, pinning it. And then once I got it on the machine, it's just guiding the two pieces of fabric to lay flat with each other.
Okay.
But I'll show you how to do it with the sleeves also. Okay, we got nice shoulders. So what the pattern wants you to do is stay stitch the neck edge, meaning from the bottom of the front wrap to around the neck edge. So the whole around the back of the neck, around the front. So I'm gonna start here, go all the way around. A 1/4 inch seam, I'm gonna put it in just the width of the foot and stay stitch it, a regular stitch, so it won't stretch when we put the facing on. And I don't backstitch on stay stitching. And I just in my head, I'm thinking it's a stitch that's going to be underneath and it's just extra. You don't want, if you ever have to pick anything out, you don't want to have a problem picking out a stay stitch. Okay, so there's the bodice for the wrap. Okay, let's go to the table and look at the sleeve. Okay, guys, you've got different versions of the dress itself, okay? Here's the cutting line for view C. That's the short sleeve. There's the cutting line for it right here. Okay? And then here is the cutting line for view A, right here. And here's the cutting line for view D. So that's why it looks like stair steps, because it gives you a clear seam. Sleeves are made like this and then like this, so you can hem it. So it gave it to you for A, and it gave it to you for C, and it gave it to you for D. Now, like Tony was asking the other day, she was asking a question, what is this dotted line here? Okay, that's your adjustment line, regardless of what sleeve you're doing. If you're doing A, yeah, there's no adjustment. It's a cap sleeve. It's really a cap sleeve, because you got 5/8 here, and then 5/8 you're going to hem up. So you don't need an adjustment line above there. But because you may have longer arms, you may be petite, this is an area where you can adjust. It even says adjustment line for Miss Petite. Okay, so you would bring this line up to this line, and then you can adjust. You can cut whichever long sleeve you want. So that's mainly for the long sleeve. But you guys know, you're familiar with the double line, lengthen or shorten here. That's consistent, that's universal with all patterns. Okay, so what happens, Rosemary, say if you want, you're gonna cut all the way down to view A, okay? And if I'm cutting on 10, I'm just gonna line up my line and keep cutting past past that little area where, you know, A would be cut, view C would be cut off. Okay, you just kind of ignore this and keep going on your same size line.
Okay.
That help?
Yes, yes, yes. It was, yeah, the little flares. I was like, what do you do?
Yeah. No, it's just if it were one sleeve piece. See, patterns are nested so that, they conserve and they're more efficient.
So what is the size that you just outlined?
Oh, I just put it on 10.
10?
And I just put it on this line. If you look, I put the ruler.
Oh, okay,
on
so
that
it
line.
meets it at the top and it'll meet it at the bottom.
And then, keep it on the 10 here. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And then that's your cut line.
All right.
Okay. So you got a full sleeve here with the flare and all. Right here, you got a full sleeve here with the little flare, and you got the full sleeve here. I think mine got cut off a little. Yeah. Okay. So now when you're doing your markings on the sleeve, your back notches, universally in all garment construction, double notches means
The back of the sleeve.
back. No, it doesn't even have to be a sleeve.
Yeah.
It can be the bodice. So you'll always see double notches on the back, single notch for the front, because this sleeve head is not even. There's more on the back because this point right here is where you line up with the shoulder seam. And it just gives you other markings to mark to help you ease the sleeve in. So these same circles are on the back bodice. These same circles are on the front bodice. And these circles here right at the top line up with the shoulder seam. So when you first put your sleeve on, you're gonna line it up here, line up your notches, and line up your seams. And then you're gonna ease all of this in. Okay. Now let's go over the pattern. Let's go over this sleeve where the pattern instructions are concerned. I'm just going to switch to the pattern since we're talking about sleeve. Let's talk about the whole thing. Okay. This is piece number 10. Easing in the sleeve is very easy on knit fabric because it's just making it fit. And, if it's a real sweatery knit fabric or even a jersey, okay, it'll fit nicely because you can just kind of stretch and make every piece fit. And just like I was doing the curved princess seam on the bodice, I was just lining up the edges and pinning as I went along. You can do the same thing with the sleeve, particularly with your knit fabric. Now, the pattern does tell you that you're going to put 2 rows of double stitching along the sleeve cap. Okay, and you see that language here on the pattern, it says ease, because that's the instruction to tell you you're going to ease right in here. Okay, right in this area. Okay, but you're doing a knit, so you're real lucky. All right, everyone's doing a knit. Does anybody have a stretch woven like the one I have? Good. So if you got knit, you're good. Okay. Now, I want you to go ahead and put the 2 rows of thread, long stitch. However far up your stitch length goes on your machine, put it there. Okay. The brother goes up to 5. Christy, how far does yours go? You got the super brother over there.
If I put it on just using that, it goes up to a 5, but I have a basting stitch that I can use that's like, it's huge. I can use it.
Yeah, I got the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And Ebony has the same machine I have. So if you guys have a Viking a brother or a Singer, your machine should go up to 5, okay? Put it on 5, your stitch length. There's no back stitching or anything. You just stitch 2 rows, one right on the edge, and the second one maybe a 1/2 inch over, okay? And then start and end at the same spot, no back stitching, and leave the tail threads. Leave the tail threads on, okay? And then you'll have room to pull, okay? All right, let me see what time it is. Maybe I'll do mine now. Rosemary, you want me to do it now?
Not necessarily. Not if you're not up to that part.
Well, let me look and see where I am. I could do it on a video and send it to you guys.
So Nikki, when we're doing our muslin,
Yep.
do we do all of these steps, including the sleeves and everything?
No, don't do the sleeves. Okay.
So that's
Don't do the sleeves. Your muslin is to make sure the bodice fits. Okay.
so that's where I'm at. So if I need to just sew the side pieces and then baste in a zipper to check the fit, right?
Yes. Yes. So do your darts, do everything, okay, to the bodice pieces only. And then you're gonna just put it on like a little vest and then put on the real bra that you would wear with it. And make sure it comes down to the waist point where you want it. Sure, if you're doing the wrap dress, make sure it overlaps. If you're doing the regular dress, put like you are, baste in a zipper and get one of the girls to zip it up for you and make sure it hits where you want it to hit. And if it's knit fabric, similar to what you're going to really be making with, just make sure you like it. And if that's your fit, if it fits, you made a good choice on the pattern. And then you can stop there and then go on. Now you only continue, and this is just a rule, guys, not for just this class or this dress. You only keep making it if you are unsure about fit in other areas. Like Rosemary's going to do her sleeve because she's always watching her armhole. So she's going to muslin her sleeve also. But Rosemary, just do one. You don't have to do both of them, right? So that's your thinking on doing a muslin. Like I'm teaching a blazer class in 2 weeks, and we're going to do a muslin of the body of the jacket only. Now, if somebody feels like they need to check their sleeve, they're only going to do one sleeve. They're not going to do pockets or anything like that. They're not even going to put a collar on it. It's just going to be the lapels. Now, if they feel like they want to check the collar and where it's going to hit and all of that, they can do it. So just think like that. Now, what am I really confident about? If I'm not as confident about the whole thing, yeah, muslin the whole thing. There's such a thing as a wearable muslin. Like teach yourself how to make it before you make it. I do that all the time. I'll just make the whole thing and wear it. And okay, now I'm gonna get that beautiful velvet out and make it again, right? So that's the idea about making a muslin.
And when you're doing that, sorry, I have all these questions.
You're supposed to have questions. Thank you.
When you do that, and like say I'm doing sleeveless, right?
Yeah.
So even on the muslin, then I don't need to put the bias tape. I just know that it's gonna.
You can fold it back. You can fold it back and stitch it around or pin it to see where it hits you on your arm to make sure that that's where it's supposed to be. You can, we talked about this, having bias tape versus making your own bias strips.
I think we're gonna make bias strips is what we decided.
Just fold it back the 5/8 and stitch it. You know.
So when you put the bias on, it's still gonna fold it back.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna be like our fold over elastic that just goes over the edge.
So you're gonna do it just like we do our bottom band elastic or the underarm elastic. You're going to stitch it on the front first and then fold it all the way in and top stitch it.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. I just didn't understand that because
Yeah, you don't want to see, the idea is not to see the bias strip. It's like it's just a binding. That's why in dressmaking, I prefer that you use a self-binding, fabric, like take the same fabric and make bias strips rather than packaged.
okay, I'm following now. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then same with the neck. I mean, I can just.
Same with the neck. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt your sleeves.
So let me tell you.
How do you make bias tape out of, I've never done it out of knit. How would it keep the fold, or you don't have to worry about that?
You don't have to worry about it. You fold it as you go. In mass making, we called it hold, fold, and sew. No, fold, hold, and sew. Yeah, some knits will fold, Rosemary. Some knits will fold and hold a press, just depending on what kind of knit it is. But you'll end up holding and folding. Or you could spray it with some sizing. If you have some spray sizing, you can spray it and it'll give it some body, so it'll fold over and hold for you. So I have a bias making video. I'll put it in our playlist, our dressmaking playlist. Okay.
Oh, if you've never tried that thing where you fold it and then you end up cutting a spiral, it's fun. If you've never done it before for yourself to make one.
I've never done it. I guess I don't see it. It seems like
there's one particular video on YouTube who I finally got it when she explained. I have to find it again because it's only
you sent it to me a long time ago. We had the same. I'm having deja vu right now. You sent it. We had this conversation, and you sent it to me, and I can't remember. I probably just filed it away.
Oh, I would need to watch it again. I definitely don't know the technique in my head.
Yeah, yeah. Kenneth King teaches that kind of version also, that kind of technique. And I guess when I see it, I'm not making bias strips, so I guess I would have to think about it. But you know what I do? When I'll take a piece of fabric that I like, a piece of cotton fabric, and I'll just sit and make all my bias strips at one time. And then I'll have a bunch of bias for whatever project I have coming up. Now if I have a specific dress like we're doing now, I would make it like that. But for just any other project, I'll just, grab whatever I have. Okay, so the next step on the wrap dress, you got the bodice together. The next step is putting the bottom on, okay? So the bottom back of the wrap has darts. Okay, and then the wrap has a belt. So before you put everything together, you have to make the belt because it gets stitched in before you put it, put the pieces together. It's really easy to put the bottom of the wrap together because the darts and the seams match up, no question. And then when they're both put together, that's when you put the facing on, because the facing comes down on top of the bottom, right where the belt tie is. The tie, it's not a belt, it's just a tie. So you put the whole dress together and then you put the facing on, and then you're done unless you're putting sleeves on. I'm going to do a cap sleeve, a small one. Let me show you that technique right quick. Okay, so if I'm going to do A, I'm just going to make my crease where the A line is. There's my sleeve for A. And then I would just cut it normal, then take it apart, fold it up, and put it back in the envelope. Yeah. What other questions? Let's look at what we're doing on the other dress. Christy. Okay. 9176. We put the bodice together. Okay. And the first thing you're going to do is put the collar together. And then you're going to put the collar on. You're not doing the collar? Okay.
I'm gonna adjust it. I'm doing the sleeveless and then I'm gonna do the plain neckline.
Okay. Dominique, are you doing the collar?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. So we're doing the collar, and then it wants the sleeves. Basically, you're putting everything on top together, and then you have to put the bottom on before you put the zipper on. Okay, so you're doing the sleeves, the collar, the sleeves. If you did a regular neck, Christy, you're going to do, you know, the facings, right?
I was reading that multiple times so that I could understand what I was doing.
Okay. So no collar. You're going to now highlight, get your highlighter. See what I did is on this one, you got the collar. So what you're going to do, you're going to highlight where you need to go on this pattern. See, the pattern starts with the collar first at step number 3. So you need to go over to step number 25. No, wait.
No, 25 is the zipper.
No, hold on.
How about 26? 26 starts with the interfacing.
26. What was I looking at? I'm looking at the same picture, but I said 25. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, 26 is when. So you would have already put the zipper on, and you're not going to put, you're going to do the arms, the arm binding, and you're going to put the zipper on, and then you're going to do the facing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have hook and eyes for your closures?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, good. Here's a tip. The pockets. If your fabric is a heavy knit,
Mm-hmm.
and you really like it and you feel like it's going to be too bulky, use a lining for one side of your pocket, the back piece. Use a lining fabric. You can use your regular knit, your regular fabric for the front piece, or depending on your fabric, because you don't want it to be seen. Okay, so the dress will lay flat. It's not like it'll poke out. You don't want it to poke out while you're wearing it, so it can see another color fabric. But if your fabrics match nicely and you feel like it'll lay nicely, because it's a really big pocket bag, right? So if you feel like it's going to be too much, trade out the fabrics and do like a regular lining fabric or something. And we'll go over pockets when we get there. So next week, I really want you guys to come back with your muslin being done, okay? Hopefully you do have some sewing time between now and next Tuesday. Just come back with if you're confident, you did your muslin and you put it on and you're confident about it and you go ahead and cut out your other fabric, that's fine too. But that's what I want to accomplish this week, is getting the muslins done so you're confident about your size and you're ready to make your dress.
Nikki, I have another question.
Yep.
Based on the muslin.
Okay.
When you're doing the zipper, because I kept reading the invisible zipper instructions.
Yeah.
Do you have a tutorial as to what's the easiest way to just put in like a temporary zipper so I can tear it out later?
Oh, you mean just to baste it in?
Yeah, do I just baste it? Yes.
Baste it in by hand if you want, or just lay it on top of the fabric. You can just lay it on top of the fabric. I'll send you something.
Okay, will you send me some instructions for zippers?
Yeah.
I haven't put a zipper in years.
Yeah, I'll send you something.
Okay.
Yeah. So for your zipper, if you're not going to you're not doing the muslin bottom, what you can do is you don't have to use your same invisible zipper.
No, I bought a regular zipper because we had that conversation. And now I know, maybe I know how to do it, and if I stitch this 5/8 and I press it open and I lay the zipper in there and just baste it in, is that okay?
That's it. And you just open it up. You remember?
Okay, well, I didn't know if I did it right. I didn't serge.
No, you're not serging.
I know, so I didn't.
So
serge.
base the seam all the way down.
At 5/8. That was my other question.
At 5/8, yes.
Okay.
That's your seam line. That's your seam line for the zipper.
Okay, then I'm good. All right.
Yeah. And then lay the zipper down, stitch it on both sides, then open up that middle seam.
Okay, I can do that.
That's old school zipper, girl.
Yeah, well, that's what I remembered, but I kept reading.
No, that's how we learned.
And those instructions didn't seem like that.
Because remember, there was no invisible zipper.
Oh.
Yeah. Susan, you remember when invisible zipper first came out? Because they were covered.
I remember using one on a prom dress when I was in high school. So that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. I remember they were covered. We had the flap.
But I liked the invisible, and that's the one I always used.
When they came out, I was like, wow, look at that.
But I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do it now.
Yeah. everybody did get their invisible zipper foot. I'm gonna keep checking with y'all, make sure you got one. Okay, what other burning questions we got? I'm gonna be working and doing some things for you guys this week and over the weekend, so you'll either, you'll see it in the, I'm building out, I've got a playlist of YouTube videos, but I'll put the videos in the page, but it'll be on YouTube also.
Okay, well, I'm stuck, of course, way back. And I did the stay stitch on at number 1. And I did the darts on picture number 3. Well, on number 3. And my stuff don't line up like that.
Don't line up like what? Which dart?
On the, I even cut the piece of fabric back out. I figured, well, maybe I did something wrong on here. On this one.
Okay, this is the wrap. And you did the darts. Okay. You did step number 1. You stay stitched the bodice front, right?
Yeah, I did around. I did the darts, and then I did around the neck. I stay stitched.
Yeah.
There was another piece. I set it down somewhere, right here. And then because I cut, like, I thought maybe I did something wrong, and then anyways, okay. So, but on this piece. I'm
gonna spotlight your video, Lisa, so I can see closer.
Okay.
Okay.
And then so on this piece here, which I stitched, and then this was my center line, and then up the side that was then I pressed the seam open because
Okay.
it told me just stay stitch on the side.
Okay, so those 2 pieces were not supposed to be stitched together. So you were just supposed to stay stitch them separately.
Okay, so I recut them. So
Okay.
now that's my question. So as the arrows show, I'm just going to go along the edges and stay stitch the sides.
Okay, so it's upside down right now. Okay, hold it up. Yeah, in your right hand. That's the way it goes. You see the diagonal? Okay, put that on your left shoulder. See how it comes down diagonal?
Yes.
Okay, so that goes, you have a center line, okay? Let me see where you are. Hold it up, Lisa, so I can see it. No, hold it up to me so I can see. Come down a little bit, come down. Down a little bit more, okay. All right, that's your shoulder. Okay, so that diagonal piece comes over you like, see, it's diagonal like that. Yeah, so put that piece on your shoulder, put that on your shoulder. Now at the bottom, it comes diagonal. See, you're missing a piece. You don't have the side seam on. So
no.
It's really in the middle. It's really in the middle. It's not all the way over.
Okay, because see, that's why it showed me that I stay stitched it. That's what I thought I read. So I recut it out, and then the pieces that go on the sides, which were these.
Yes.
Here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. No, that's not how they go. So pull that out. The round side goes, those 2 notches on the round edge. Now turn it over. Turn it over. Yep. Those 2 notches on the rounded edge match up with those 2 notches on the left side of that long piece. Okay, if you just lay it down, no, you don't have to do that. Turn it back over.
Okay, okay.
Okay, pull it out to the side onto your mat. Pull it out to the side onto your mat. Just slide it over. Okay, now slide the round piece over outside onto your mat. Yep, okay. And I can't see, but I think you're doing
Okay,
it right.
so the two notches are matching up together.
Yes, see, it's
Okay.
rounded.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, I
Got it?
understand because we've done that before.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
All right.
those two notches, now lay that one down.
Hold on. Let me go
Yeah,
back
make sure it's
where
right.
it's supposed to be. And then get my scraps out of here because I cut this thing. I thought I did something wrong. I'm going to recut. Thank goodness for
There you
extra material
And those two notches,
right there.
wait, no, wait. Where's your rounded edge? The rounded side. Hold that piece up for me, please.
This one?
Yeah, hold the rounded piece up. Okay, all right, those two notches in your left hand, yep, that one and that one, they match up with those two notches on the side of the, on the right-hand side of that front bodice piece. Yes. So what you're going to do, you're going to match up the notches.
Yep. I got
Yeah.
it here and right here.
It's not going to lay perfectly because it's rounded.
Right.
So what you're going to do is match up the notches, right sides together, and pin those.
Okay.
And then match up the bottom edge and the top edge, pin those. And then you have to ease in that curve to match it up with the straight side.
I watched you. I watched you do that part. I've been watching you.
Okay.
I'm still watching, but that was where I was like, okay, that was it. And of course, I'm gonna get lost somewhere. So okay, I got it.
Okay, well, you got it on video now.
Okay,
You know what?
Yeah, that straightened me out.
Okay, I'm going to stop this recording now. Anybody else need me to say anything really important on the recording? Nope. Okay, I'm going to stop it so it can go ahead and do its thing, so I can get it right back to you.